Welcome everyone to the first episode of Paradise Podcast. Before we get into the actual episode itself and introduce our guests, I want to talk about our sponsor. Paradise Podcast is sponsored by Lycan Energy and Fade Grips. Lycan Energy is an organic energy drink that strives to bring the healthiest supplements on the market. They don't use ingredients like citric acid, colors, or any negative health affecting ingredients. They also provide a super unique and high quality shaker cups. If you can go to lycanrx.com and use code PARADISE, you'll get 10% off your next purchase. If you're in need of a controller grips or for your PlayStation and Xbox controller, Fade Grips is the way to go. All grips are high quality and will never fail you. Go to fadegrips.com and use code PARADISE and you will receive 8% off your next purchase. With that out of the way, I would like to introduce my co-host for today, Juliet Salter, also known as JustAlittlenuts. Say hello.
Hi.
And now I would like to introduce our guest, DR1VEN Industries. My dude has 3,162 subscribers. He's heavily involved in the mental health community. I messed that one up. He lost a father and the wife to suicide. Eric is a recovering addict. He has PTSD, ADHD, depression, and anxiety, and he struggles with it on a daily basis. He has made it his life's mission to make sure no one goes through life alone. Today we're going to talk about swatting and mental health. Speaking about swatting, Eric was recently swatted, so dude, what the hell happened?
YouTube drama. And apparently YouTube drama isn't, when it comes to that, revolving only around gamers. I got tied into a lot of YouTube drama with the Rewired Soul and Repzilla, along with Premic and Bipolar Corner and a lot of these other YouTubers. And during a live stream, I had a YouTube channel hit me up that about 1,500 subs and really felt bad because they were a ride or die fan with the Rewired Soul when he broke his 100,000 mark or whatever on subs. And a lot of times people are dealing with depression, anxiety, and they really felt that they weren't part of the community or anything. So I ended up just deciding, hey, what the hell, I'll do a live stream on this, letting these people know that it's okay, that just because you were a fan of somebody doesn't mean that, you're not cared about. And during the last 5 minutes of that call, or of that live, is when the 911 call went in. And then the fun just didn't stop.
Yeah, I saw your video on it that, they try to say that you're holding your son hostage and you killed your wife.
Yeah, SWAT calls are all pretty much the same, that you've killed somebody and that you have a hostage there, so that the police treat it differently. And they have a different protocol that they have to go through because they figure that there's an active shooter and you have a hostage inside the house and you're already a possible murder suspect. Yeah. So I was lucky because I wasn't swatted on live stream, which is essentially the whole motive, is to be swatted on live stream. And I understand why too, because they come in and they're not fucking around when they come in. I happened to end mine short, which the police said probably worked in my favor because the majority of my live streams will go for at least an hour and a half. So the guy probably, whoever called in, and it was a guy because I got to hear the 911 call, figured that there's probably about another 45 minutes at least to my live stream. And thankfully I had groceries being delivered to my house, and I just ended my live stream abruptly and went to go get my groceries. So I was taken actually outside of my house trying to get my groceries instead of them breaking down my door and taking me in my house, which would have went probably a little bit uglier than what it did.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you had to go through that too. I saw how many cops were outside your house, and Jesus.
Yeah, no, it's no joke, and they just kept fucking showing up. And
really,
and yeah, and they don't tell you why they have guns at your. I mean, when I met the little grocery kid or whatever, gave him my ID, loaded some groceries inside the house, turned around, grabbed another bag, and I was told to drop what I have and put my hands up, and I look up and you have a cop right there with the AR-15, and then they had the grocery kid up against his car. There's another cop over there with his gun, because they all have their guns drawn. It's not like they're just, hey, we're going to do a little check of your house. Are you okay, sir? It's like, no. And then there's other cops at the other side of my house, and all my neighbors were having fun videotaping this. And they take you to the ground and pat you down. And during this whole time, I'm looking at the grocery kid like, what the fuck did you do? Like, I'm thinking that, like, this kid's like some fucking drug dealer or some shit, and, like, I'm associated with you now. And then by the time they pull me out the other side of the house, they're like, so why did you do this? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're like, well, we got your 911 call that you killed your wife, and where's your son at? And I'm like, well, one, my wife's at work, and two, I don't have any kids, dude. And so then that's kind of when the cops were actually cool. I mean, if it ever happens to you, all I can say is don't fucking resist back and just do what they say. And they're actually, I mean, they did their job and they weren't dicks, but they were pretty humane about it. And eventually, once they realized that what this was, and I realized what it was, they were cool. And eventually let me have my handcuffs off, but they still go through and toss your house, raid your house, wait for the K9 unit, you know, guns drawn, all that shit.
And sometimes, like, when people go to SWAT, like other YouTubers, streamers, they put in, like, false bomb reports.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like a live C4 and shit.
Oh, yeah, and part of the problem with that is especially, like, if you're gaming and stuff, I mean, you have your headset on.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, when I live stream, I don't have a headset on. I mean, I just do it off my computer or my webcam. Mm-hmm. And so, but, I mean, I can tell you this, because I asked them, once the cops were cool and they came back over to go through all my internet and stuff, they're like, well, you know, they'll try and call you out of the house. Like what happened in Florida, unfortunately, the guy came out of his house cooking dinner with a knife and didn't realize that he was being swatted and got shot and killed. Yeah. But I mean, they do try and call you out of the house. But if you have your headset on, you don't know that somebody's hollering at you outside. Mm-hmm. So it makes it for a interesting experience.
Actually, I shouldn't ask that. I was gonna say, like, how far are you with the case? And I was like, yeah, no, I shouldn't ask that. But
I will say this: it's a long fucking process. I don't really care because I'm really open about it, and you know, whoever did it, I mean, feel free to do it again. I really don't give a shit because the police are. I mean, they got it down now because it doesn't happen. I mean, I'm in Orange County, and this is the second time it's ever happened out here. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, we'll give you like a call beforehand we'll still come by, but it'll probably be in a different sense than what you just had.
Yeah. When you said, I can't remember where you said something about Orange County, but where I live near New York, and there's also Orange County there. So.
Yeah. No, I'm in California, Orange County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, wait, I thought he was in California.
Yeah, no, still in California.
Yeah. So, yeah. Is everything going good, like, so far? Like,
yeah, everything's going good so far. The flip side of it is, like, I've talked with, you know, some of the other YouTubers, and, like, you know, our channels weren't ever, when you go into, and you actually dive into mental health on YouTube, it's not, nobody's in it for the money. And I mean, even when you get like monetized, even with me, I make like $1 a day from fucking YouTube. So it's not like you're rolling in dough. You're not doing it for that.
You're not like you're Jake Paul.
Yeah, you know, and people don't kind of get that. And then it, you know, when you have somebody big like the Rewired Soul, you start getting these channels that have 100,000 plus subscribers, people start invading kind of a community that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And you start getting some followers and stuff that you shouldn't, and it keeps the drama kind of feeding and going, unfortunately. And the 3 that originally had spoken out against the Rewired Soul, which I was one of those, 2 of us, you know, we've just kind of dropped that whole subject and have moved on. Unfortunately, one hasn't really as much, and so, like, you know, Premic released another video today, and I like him. I mean, I love his channel, but it's one of those 2 that it brings some people into the community that you don't really have a place there.
Yeah, I didn't know it was like the other guys that you mentioned. I only thought it was a Rewired Soul. So interesting.
Well, it wasn't even just that. I mean, I was blocked Repzilla and I ended up talking, and I realized that he was just a fake individual. And then he's asking me to get some of the other YouTubers to stop, you know, talking. And it's like, dude, you did this to yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you had, who was it? Roberto Blake, who, I mean, he's like 300,000 subscribers. He has a decent sized channel.
Shit.
He ended up blocking me from Twitter because I was like, dude, like, if you're a piece of shit like this too, like, come on, like, my people that are in mental health are a lot more loyal to true mental health activists than they are to people who are just trying to get noticed off of this crap.
Yeah, and get like clout and shit.
Yeah, and these people were reaching out on behalf of Rewired Soul and asking us to stop and don't be a part of this. And it's like, dude, fuck that. You got somebody out there telling people that you can cure your own mental illness and don't go see a doctor, and promoting pay services like Better Health that are pretty much lined up as a fraud. I mean, all the way to the point that PewDiePie or PewDiePie, whoever, I always mess up his name. He ended up doing even a video on BetterHelp and how it's a scam, and it's like that. People don't need to be misled, especially when it comes to mental illness. You're a little bit vulnerable. You're going through a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. And the last thing you need to do is be up in the middle of the night and go, hey, let me try this, and then realize you just got scammed out of $200.
Yeah. Right when like BetterHelp was like became popular, I was like, this shit's a scam. Like, I really hope people don't fall for it. And then people fell for it. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, no. People. I mean, the service could actually be something really, really awesome and needed, but there is a monetizing side to it that you do have to pay bills and you have to fund it. But the way that they're going about it was so fucked up I mean, now you have multiple mental. I mean, just like with mine, you have multiple mental health discords that have popped up that are essentially group therapy that's free.
Mm-hmm. Julie, do you got any input in this? Like, any input?
Well, I mean, I haven't really heard much about this Better Help thing, but I get what you're saying from like there being scams about mental health, because we get it over here quite a lot in the UK. We do say stuff like, "Oh, it's just a state of mind; it's nothing to worry about." And as someone that's suffered with depression for 10 years, it's really not just it's psychologically and physically draining.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through about 8 years of not telling anyone, and then about 10 to 11 years, so 3 years of like therapy and everything, and it took finding the right psychologist to get me straight before I even was starting to get better. So you need the professional help or some kind of guidance.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely do it, and it's trial and error. And
definitely. I went to about 7 different psychologists before I found the right one.
Right, and see, people don't get that, and people look for. We always naturally look for a quick, easy solution, and so the Rewired Soul, in a sense, offered that when you're telling people, hey, I had BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, which there is no known cure for, and there is medication for, that how he cured it himself, and then he was pretty much self-diagnosed himself over the phone with a licensed doctor. But that, you can't get diagnosed with anything over the phone. It's impossible. It's not doable.
No, exactly.
But there's a lot of good that came because of it. I mean, that's how I met the CG kid, and now his channel, because it's all about addiction. He's really open-minded to knowing that, hey, some of these drugs like benzos and Adderall and stuff, they have the addictive side to them and the people that abuse them, but then they also have a medical purpose side to them. So instead of just being so anti some of the drugs that are out there, his channel's become very open-minded on, get with your doctor. It's easy to get hooked to a Xanax or to a Valium, but to some people it helps them get out the front door.
Yeah. Alcohol is a big one that people get like addicted to. Like, if they can't solve the problem, they jump right to that.
Oh, alcohol is mine. I would drink about 3/5 a day. Yeah. It was my average, 3/5 a day, and then I'd snort coke when I was about ready to pass out.
Yeah, for a while, I didn't talk to anybody. Like, I still don't talk to anybody because of the piece of shits like Rewired Soul. I'm afraid to talk to anybody about, like, depression. And, like, I think it was last month, maybe, or 2 months ago, I actually started getting addicted to, like, hard liquor. Like Hennessy and shit like that. And then I stepped back, I was like, wait a fucking minute, what am I doing?
Oh, yeah, it's easy to get addicted to some of this stuff, especially because, I mean, like alcohol especially, I mean, you can go in the store and buy it. It's not, like, hard to get. I mean, trying to get some of the drugs that are out there are harder to get than alcohol is.
Yeah. Eric, do you know who Keemstar is?
I do not.
Well, he's a he's got a giant monopoly now. He's one of the top news channels on YouTube. And
Okay.
yeah, he made fun of depression one time. He said like the reason that people are depressed is because they're not working as hard. Like they need to like work harder and stuff like that. And that
I think it was one of the hardest working periods of my life when I was depressed.
I'm sorry?
I think it was one of the hardest working periods of my life when I was depressed.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to find that. I'll have to look. How recent ago was that video? Because like I'm all about doing videos on shit like that because that's what adds to the stigma. And people don't realize. Like, don't get me wrong. If you really research like I have and you get involved into the community, there are different depressions. Don't get me wrong. Somebody loses their job. Yeah, you're probably going to be depressed.
Oh yeah.
Because maybe the financial burden and stuff like that. And yeah, going out and working your ass off and pulling yourself out of it can work. But there's also, dopamine and serotonin in your brain that some of us are born with different levels. Or if you're a drug addict, you fry out some of those levels that your body won't even produce it anymore. And so not all depression, that's where I got into it with the Rewired Soul and how this whole thing started, where I got dragged into it was he put out a video that's been deleted because I used to refer back to it a ton of how yoga and stretching will cure anxiety and depression. I commented on his video and I go, it's a good video, but I think you're misleading a little bit. It'll help with like sadness and stuff, but there's versions of depression that do require medication, and same with anxiety. And he wrote back, and then he writes back to me, peer-to-peer studies show that stretching and yoga will cure depression and anxiety more than any medication. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're an idiot. And then all of a sudden, I was inspired to do a video about him and got dragged into that shit.
Yeah, my mom tried to make me do yoga for depression. I was like, that doesn't work. I can tell you right now that's a load of shit.
Yeah, I mean that with some other stuff, it does help, but there's also, clinical depression. There's manic depressive. There's so much else out there that you got to know what you're up against and not just go, oh, okay, I'm gonna go stretch this one out.
It's just like, oh man, I'm not feeling so good today. Let me just go stretch it out. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me go take care of this real quick. I'll go take a walk, and holy shit, my problems are all fixed.
Oh my god, I went for a run and wow.
Exactly. How recent ago was that video that he did that he had brought that up?
Oh, dude, I can't remember honestly, like off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure if you go on Twitter, go to like the search, you could look up like depression and Keemstar, and he made a couple Twitter videos about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go take a look at it. If it's stuff, like I'm really big on speaking up against it. If it's old stuff, I hate drudging up the older stuff because then it causes unnecessary drama.
He got a lot of backlash for it though.
A lot of people do. It's one of those that, 1 in 4 people suffer from a mental illness, and people don't realize that, and most people won't talk about it because of the stigma around it. So when you bring up mental health and mental illness, you draw upon a crowd that you don't even sometimes realize you're drawing upon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But yeah, he got a shit ton of backlash for like maybe a whole week straight. If people are always shooting at him, calling like scumbag and shit like that, like how dare you? Big YouTubers that like actually suffer from some of the things that you're diagnosed with. Oh man, they were calling him the worst of names.
And I don't blame them for doing it.
Yeah, I don't blame him either.
It's one of those that fuck that shit. It's I give out my phone number. I got to do a video now on my 5 favorite social media apps because TikTok's actually become a really big one now. I don't know if you're involved in that at all, but TikTok's downloaded more than Snapchat and Instagram combined, and it's pretty much a combination of both.
Holy shit.
And that has increased my subscribers, that has increased my Discord channel, that has increased everything for me. And when it does come down to it, I'm very open about the monetization side of things because, like, I give out my phone number and I've had people lash out at me that, hey, you have a Patreon account and you have some people that actually donate to you and that's bullshit, or you sell shirts, that's bullshit. And I tell them, well, I get about 30 to 40 phone calls a day now, or text messages a day from people that are reaching out wanting help or wanting, support to go to the doctor or whatever. And I go, I have a full-time job and this isn't my job. And so if somebody appreciates what I'm doing, I'm thankful for it. I don't ask anyone to do it. And when you do TikTok, after you can do lives on that, after you have 1,000 followers, you know, people will donate you fucking money on it and stuff like that. And it's very interactive. And the coolest thing is when you do a live, especially on mental health, TikTok, there aren't many on that, so you get a really great comment section going and a lot of support thrown out, and you really can see how people are helping other people just for the sole fact of not letting anyone go through their depression or their anxiety alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't checked out TikTok, it's a badass app. I love TikTok. My favorite social media is YouTube. Now it's Discord, just because the benefit of having a community of support. But then it's Twitter, TikTok, and then Instagram.
Holy shit, I didn't know TikTok was that big. I didn't know it had more downloads than Snapchat.
Oh, yeah. And they went on a really big binge recently of, like, promoting it. I thought it was just, like, I downloaded it months and months ago, and I'm like, this is retarded. This is just some little sing-along video, whatever. And then I had the friend of mine who helps me with a lot of my social media. He hit me up and he's like, dude, you got to get on this app. There's actually a really big bullying section to it. There's a really big mental health section to it. And it's all done off a hashtag. So I got on it and tried it a little bit. And I'm like, And then all of a sudden I did one video and I ended up getting like 18,000 views and like 2,000 hearts and a ton of comments. And I started getting all these followers. And then I started doing these lives, and I mean, my lives on those would get up to sometimes 50, 60 people on those. And it's all just talking about mental health and just going through everyday fucking life.
Jeez.
I'm impressive.
Right?
Oh, no, and it's a great way. It's a great way to, I mean, I've had to build this all from the ground up myself because I don't use anyone else's money. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it does, you can use it to help promote your YouTube channel. I've gotten other mental health YouTubers on TikTok to help promote their channels, even to just bring the awareness. I promote my channel and stuff on there. And then it's cool because in your profile area, you can only really set up 2 links, but the links are to your YouTube and the other link is to your Instagram. And then you can save it and you can share it into Twitter, or you can share it into Facebook, but I do a lot of my sharing into Twitter because Twitter for me still is one of my strongest social medias by far.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm gonna have to get into the TikTok game, man.
Yeah, if you're not in it, you're missing out on a huge marketplace. Because the other thing I can tell everyone, I mean, I did a video on how I gained 1,000 subscribers in a month. Was the same way I did YouTube, was treating it as its own social media. Mm-hmm. So you have to be active in the YouTube community. So you have to get onto other videos and you have to comment. And if you comment on the smaller channels, that's where you really get the support from. And it really comes down to, you know, everybody appreciative. I mean, people put their fucking, I mean, how many times have you ever done a YouTube video where you really thought it was a good video, and the next thing you know, you had like 10 views on it, maybe 1 like and no comments, and you're like, fuck this, I'm over it. I really thought it was something cool or funny or had a great message. And you put effort and energy into it. Well, you feel it's unappreciative. You're invisible. Why the fuck am I even doing YouTube? Well, I go to all those motherfuckers and I comment on every single one of their videos.
That's literally my channel. It's like I create like a really good content. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna go viral. This is gonna go really good. Nope, 25 views. Like,
mm-hmm.
All right.
And then it's also, I mean, I can get into the thing because like CG Kids helped me out a ton, because I was like, dude. Him and I get to the point now, we talk daily. I'm like, how did you build 160,000 subscribers, and how did you do all this? And he sent me over his whole marketing thing of how he does it. And it's literally like, he doesn't promote to any of his family members or friends. He goes after a set market. Really? And yeah, and that's the best way to do it, because your family member or friends are your biggest holdback, and they're their biggest waste of energy, time, and effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you gotta go
and, like, not watch any of your videos.
Yeah, so you have to go after the people that will actually watch your video, actually like your content, and then figuring out how do I actually go after those people. And that's where like Twitter helps. But people don't cross social media paths. And like on Twitter, I mean, I have 48,000 or 4,800 followers or whatever on Twitter, 4,900 followers on Twitter.
Jesus.
I don't have that many subscribers on YouTube though.
Yeah.
Because they don't cross paths. And plus YouTube, if you're a YouTuber, you know what the power and what it means to subscribe to a channel, where somebody who doesn't realize what their subscription or what their participation really truly means. Mm-hmm. So you have to hit all different platforms, and unfortunately, yeah, you still have to even hit Facebook.
Yeah.
But, and then the other big one now, Reddit, because I mean, my swatting
Reddit.
video, when I put my swatting video up, it had like 3,400 views, which I thought it was going to get more than that. Well, not huge Reddit user, but had a decent like Reddit user posted my swatting video on Reddit and made a comment thing about it, and that drove me like 23,000 views and like 250 subscribers.
Yeah,
and I'm like, holy shit!
Your channel. Oh, sorry for interrupting you, but I was checking out your channel, and yeah, that's your most video right now. Like your most.
Yeah, which wasn't really the intention of it. Like I got some backlash for posting it up, but I wanted to post it up because a lot of people weren't even aware that they could be swatted.
Yeah.
Or what it was, and I'm like, dude, if this happens in the mental health community, that's gonna fuck somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the whole reason I ended up sharing it. And you know, you're always gonna have haters out there, but apparently, if you do, you're doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, Juliet's channel is growing pretty fast too.
What's your channel? What's your channel?
So it's JustAlittlenuts. It's a gaming and vlogging channel mainly. I started vlogged in about 5 months, but we're getting there. But yeah, it's a gaming channel. But because I've suffered with depression in the past, and the reason I started my channel was a coping mechanism for depression.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
It kind of helped me get through it. And with that, I kind of turned it, when I felt I got better, I turned it to help other people just have like an escape for 5 minutes away from their problems. Because when I've watched bigger YouTubers for 5 minutes, I wasn't as down, as feeling so hurt. So I wanted to be like that for other people. And from there, it's just kind of grown. Like, I think it's about 2.5 years now.
Okay. What channel is it?
Just a Little Nut.
JustAlittlenuts?
Yeah.
Welcome to Paradise Podcast, where we all support each other.
Absolutely. There you go. You gained another subscriber. I'm gonna go through and check out your channel when we're done.
Yeah, she's close to like 200 subs.
Wow,
yeah, you got
6 away.
Yeah, you got. You're at 195.
Whoa. Yeah. I've got a video plan for 200. But...
Awesome. The one thing I want to do is even like I love doing collabs with people to get their channels awareness. Even like in my lives, I'll promote the channels of the people that are participating in the lives, and just watching their channels, start to grow, because it is all about helping each other. Because we all have our own unique message, we have our own unique share, and it's hard to find small YouTubers out there. I mean, it's one of those that you go to YouTube and type something in, and you typically don't see them pop up.
Yeah, Juliet's slowly creeping on my number.
I'll surpass you all.
I remember when I was calling asking you for advice.
Yeah. Okay, so it was a couple years ago. I was giving advice to.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
it was like 6 months ago with me.
Yeah, I know. But like a few years ago, like a random friend that I met online, they were asking like a bunch of people if they were YouTubers. I said, yeah, I am. And they're like, oh, give me a few tips. I'm like, all right. So I gave him like a whole list of things that he needs to keep up on. And at the time, I only had 50 subs. In like 2 fucking months, this dude had hit like 13,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
No, and I get it. It has to be how you advertise it or where it gets talked about at. Because if you rely on YouTube to promote your videos, you're going to be holding your breath for pretty much forever.
Yeah.
Because there is no way to, like, and there still isn't yet, to figure out how YouTube, actually their analytics work. I mean, it's that well done. So when it comes down to, hoping that you have that next fucking, viral video, it isn't going to happen. And so the same thing happened to me. I had a salesman, he goes by Driven Eddie. And when I saw his channel, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to get on to YouTube. It has to be that easy, because this kid has like 13,000 subscribers. and he has one video that was just a horrible video that has 2.5 million views.
Oh my
god. And I'm like, oh, my content's gonna rock it. And I did my first couple videos and was like, what the fuck? Why doesn't anyone like my stuff?
Yeah.
And then realized, oh, okay, it's not my stuff. It's just kind of hit and miss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, just like take your time. Take your time.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, take your time. Build your channel at your pace, and you know, and go after the enjoyment for yourself, and then the subscribers eventually filter in.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. Where did you come up with the name JustAlittlenuts Industries?
It was a salesman of mine that used to work for me, who actually is still a good friend of mine. That they had a God, what was it? Call of Duty. They had a group, and they called it Driven, and so they're all driven by different things. So you had like driven by chaos and driven by fury and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I like the concept of driven, because we're all driven in life by different things.
Yeah.
And so originally, when I got sober, I wanted something to do, and he wanted to still do this business, and I was like, okay, you know, I'll do it if you follow through and do all the stuff. I'll just sit behind the scenes, and it'll give me a hobby or something. Well, then he was all motivated for it for about, I don't know, 3 weeks, and then he got over it. So I just kind of took it over, and through kind of doing it, I realized I was driven by bringing awareness. Mm-hmm. And so then all of a sudden it switched from like being motivation to switch over to being all mental health, mental illness, sobriety, you know, what I was passionate about, what drove me in life. And I used the industries just for the sole fact, not only one was Driven already trademarked and taken as a business name, but I wanted something that it could encompass anything, and that industry can pretty much be anything out there. So we're all driven by a different thing. Essentially anything you can be driven by in life.
Yeah, and I essentially don't know what drives me, but no, that's a pretty cool story.
Mm-hmm.
Cool concept, yeah.
Yeah. My name on YouTube, Eddie, originated from my middle name. Like, my original YouTube name was Ballistic HD. That was, like, the most typical gamer name you could think of, like, 2013.
Right.
So, one of my friends, Steven, I forgot where he lives, but, he was helping me. And he goes, what's your middle name? I said, Edward. He goes, why not just Eddie? It rhymes. Go with it. I'm like, all right, I'm taking it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't have like a story like that. It was just like, man, I really need a new name because there's like 15,000 other Ballistic HD, so I need something that, you know, I poke out at.
Right. I mean, let me look at again. I went with Driven Industries. I would have went with something else, but then I look at it. You know, by the time I was at that point, I'm like, no, I've branded this too much. That this is what I'm just going to stick with. And
yeah.
Julie,
how did you come up with yours?
Well, before this channel, I had another channel, which was a gaming, but that's a long story that goes into about 5 other names. But for this channel, I wanted something that would kind of roll off the tongue, but be a bit quirky at the same time. So I was sitting there for about 5 minutes being like, just a little random, just a little, and I wanted to go with the just a little. Mm-hmm. To be like a contradiction in a way. And then I was kind of like, I might just well go just a little nuts, and that's kind of how it grew. And it was originally just a little XXX, but then I changed it to just a little nuts because it was then easier. So yeah, that's probably where it comes from.
That's better than some of the other getting them into Discord that have, because Discord was originally set up for gamers. So they'll jump into this mental health one, and it's like, you know, I don't like it in my butt and stuff like that. And I'm like, really?
What the
fuck? No, I've had some really interesting gamer names pop up. The next thing you know, they're changing their name because they're like, yeah, this is back when I played this or I did this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, awesome.
Yeah, my first channel, the name was originally Dynasty Legend because it was Dynasty Warriors gameplay. So, but then, because I expanded to, like, Kingdom Hearts and other games from my childhood, I went to No Romeo and Juliet, because my name being Juliet, and I was like, I don't like the story of Romeo and Juliet very much. So that's where it all comes from. And then I took down the channel because of things that happened, and kind of came to this instead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I've noticed about that some with some YouTubers my one friend, he's Australian, but whenever he seems to to get depressed or something, he gives up on everything. I'm not mocking him. If he's listening to this, I'm not mocking him whatsoever. But he deletes everything. Like, he deletes his YouTube channel, deletes social media, literally deletes everything, and I can't contact him through emails. And that's just because I forgot. He has depression, but I think he told me what else he has. But whenever he gets discouraged or depressed, he just deletes everything.
And it's common. I've had a lot of people, and I actually have YouTubers that I've talked with about and found out that a lot of them have had channels before and they've deleted them off and stuff. And the hard thing when it comes to YouTube that I have found, especially if it's somebody that's depressed, they look at their self-worth, unfortunately, and it comes to all social media of how much of a following they have in social media. And if they don't have much of one, it's like my self-worth is zero, so they end up deleting it all off. And then, with YouTube, you lose all that and then you don't get it back.
Yeah.
And, when you're doing some of that stuff, it's amazing how much you're not alone. And if you actually share the shit that you're going through, that usually actually draws you a lot more support than anything else that you do.
Yeah.
I have found channels out there and promoted channels out there. There's one, she goes by Scared Luna, and she's actually a gaming channel. And I've helped her grow because I did a collab even with her, shared her channel. She's at 226 subscribers. When I met her, she was at 110. She's active in my live chats and stuff, though. But all of her stuff is gaming, but she had posted up a video where she talked about depression. And that's how I ended up finding her. And we ended up just talking and becoming friends. So it's amazing. I would have found her gaming channel if she hadn't opened up about something else.
Yeah. I almost did that. I'm going to be 100% transparent here, because usually I hide things because I don't want, when I post content, I want to make people feel good. I don't want them to be depressed and shit. So I'm going to be 100% transparent here, but I was actually planning on doing a video about depression, and I don't know, part of me was this is not really my content, I don't really want to do this. So I still have the file of the depression video on my PC, and I look back to it time to time, should I post this? I don't know. So
and that's the thing, if you're just trying to do one style, you'll miss a lot of people out there that'll never find the content that they might enjoy.
Yeah.
And even on mine, if you go into my channel's all mental health, mental illness, sobriety, suicide awareness. that's what I promote.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go on there, I have 2 videos actually on there, actually 4 videos on there that have absolutely nothing to do with mental health, mental illness, any of that. And one of them I tried to kind of tie it in where I did the fucking key challenge or whatever in my fucking T-Rex suit. But I have a video, buying a car or an RV. I have a video because that's the industry that I'm in.
Yeah.
And it was it's not necessarily is it my content that my channel's about, but you know what? I might as well leave it up because it might draw somebody into my other content that they would have never found it before.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. It's not a downer. A lot of times people go, "Oh man, if I talk about depression and shit, there are people are going to be depressed with me then." And what you'll find is the biggest thing with anyone with depression is you feel alone, you're the only one, just like how you just talked right now. I don't want to bring people down to where I am, and my stuff is funny. It shows, one, that you're fucking human, and 2, it's something that everyone can relate to, and they get it.
Yeah. That's fair.
But
yeah, no,
that's my opinion.
No, you have a very valid point. I remember when Juliet actually posted a video, I think she was overwhelmed with something. And I actually watched her crying. I was like, damn, man. I honestly feel bad.
Mm-hmm. You do. Shows you the compassion side, and then it's a lot of good actually usually comes from it. A lot of the people that hit me up, even on my videos, you would think, okay, well, fuck, dude, if you do all this mental health shit, you get just a lot of negativity and just people that are fucking horrible places and stuff. And you don't. And then how much your video helped me, or, thanks for doing this because it was something I was fighting in my head. I watched your video now and it makes sense. I just put one up on Fake Friends, and I had a couple comments that had popped up of people that were like, I was going through this actually right now. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's rewarding. It makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my flatmates just came and knocked on my door, so I've missed a little bit of the chat. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Well, at least you weren't getting swatted.
They probably are.
I don't be laughing at that, but that was funny.
you gotta have a sense of humor. You gotta laugh about that shit. Just like, at the time it was super serious for me, and I was really pissed off, and that's when I did that video of like, hey motherfucker, if you're out there, like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I look back at it now and I just laugh.
It's just, at least you're not getting swatted.
That'd be great. The cops are in the background, fucking yelling, fucking hearing the taser go off and shit. Well, we lost our co-host. Well, keep going. The show must go on. Shit got real quick.
I was just about to say, like, well, should we keep it going, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man down.
Exactly.
Show must
if we hear gunshots, though, pour it out a little bit for your homies.
This is completely off topic, but there's been like a couple of people that have been trying to break into my house. Like, not recently, but I'm still paranoid. But there's been people like trying to break into my house and shit like that. It's got to the point where recently I just bought a gun because of that. Because I'm paranoid. It's not like I didn't buy any bullets for it because I don't want to hurt people, but I just wanted to do it just for intimidation. So
what? So that they pull their shoot first?
Fair. I should buy bullets.
I'm just wondering on that one. That's kind of like buying a bat with no baseball. Like, what the fuck are you gonna go do with that?
Well, the bat can actually harm someone time.
Yeah, no, that's true. unless you're getting swatted. I'm just kind of curious. You might have just bought like a Nerf pellet gun or something. At least that you can like shoot them in the eye and blind them for a second as you relock your door.
And then pull an R-15 and just strap down my door.
Jeez almighty, man. That's funny. I bought a gun but no bullets. I've just never heard of that.
Just do it.
Get one of those things that says for display purposes only.
Well, check my security cameras and I looked. They had like, I couldn't.
What kind of fucking operation are you running that you have a gun with no bullets and a security cameras?
Okay, so I saw them like I didn't.
Where the fuck do you live?
Pennsylvania, bro.
What the fuck is going on in Pennsylvania? California was fucking gangster, but no.
Dude, people are
PA is where it's going down.
People are stupid here, dude.
Apparently so.
So we have two separate lanes, like one going forward and one going like one direction. There's been cars
like two lanes of highway.
Yeah, and there's been cars that go the other direction. Like they'll come from one lane and into the other, and they're not supposed to do that.
That's rad.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking great right there. I'm still just shocked with I don't have video. What other kind of setups do you have? Do you have like an alarm system that isn't actually activated? But do you put like the ADT sign out front, protected by ADT? Even though I don't have it. Watch out! I got my gun with no bullets too. I'm sorry. I'm really sarcastic and I don't show my humor in a lot of my videos. Like, I got to do one because CG Kid jumped onto one of my videos, one of my live streams, and it reminded me that I have to show a real side too. That he's talking about like what's your funniest sharding experience and stuff. And he's bringing this up in my live stream. I'm like, oh god, dude, I have to acknowledge this too. That you got to have some fun and. If it's going down to the gun store and buying a gun with no bullets, it's cool.
At that time, I did think about it. I was like, on the cameras, I only saw them with baseball bats and pocket knives. And on the way home, I was like, they have a thing called concealed weapon.
Well, not just that, but let's face it, a baseball bat and knife is going to do a lot more damage than a gun with no bullet.
No bullets. Well,
if they charge you, what are you going to do? Throw the one gun at them?
Well, no,
Maybe hit one of them in the leg?
No, you shut the door.
Shut the door.
Yeah. And they're screaming, I loaded my gun, really? I got to just find those bullets.
Gonna surround sound and put like gun sound effects.
I mean, you'd be better off with blanks, but even with blanks, if they have a gun, they're gonna shoot you.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
really,
shit'll get real quick.
just oh, you have a gun with no bullets, and it's just blanks, huh? Check this out. But yeah, no, I didn't think about it. Really, I should probably after this, I should probably go get some bullets.
Really? Never would have guessed.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's weird talking about guns actually, because I live in a country where we don't come into contact with them often. So,
really?
Well, I live in England. So after we had a school shooting in Scotland, I think 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and handguns got banned. So you don't come into contact with them at all unless like gang crime or heavy duty police. So you don't really see them.
I didn't know
Well,
that
yeah.
actually.
No, it's fine. Like, I mean, I went to Kenya about 2 years ago, and it was around the time of the election. And so there was always police with us with big guns, and it was kind of weird seeing that.
Yeah.
And normally now, if you go into London, you'll see police with guns and everything, but that's kind of the only places you see it.
There we go. Sorry about that. I had a phone call come through and it booted me off.
That's alright. No problem.
Were you talking about going out and buying some fake bullets?
You know, I'm thinking about it now.
I said to Julia, I said after this, I should probably go to the ammunition store and buy some.
I think about the same stuff.
And then Juliet said that where she lives in England, like handguns are actually banned.
Yeah, well, the United Kingdom, after a school shooting, they just got banned. Handguns, yeah, you weren't allowed to have a handgun unless you had a strict license, and even then, the license is hard to obtain. So, it's very different. So yeah, definitely hearing like all the stories, especially when we hear about them from America and England. It's quite shocking for us, but at the same time, we've kind of gotten used to hearing about it. You don't realise, we don't think it's happening really much in our country. You get the gang crime that has it. Other than that, you don't get much of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
By gun with no bullets. Well, I'm stupid.
I just didn't think that one through all the way. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going on 48 minutes now, almost 50 minutes. So
Woo!
yeah, that's for the first episode. That's impressive. So I'm actually gonna end it. It's been fun, guys. I appreciate you guys coming.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem. I'll put, if you're watching the visual of this, because this will be on iTunes and Spotify. So if you are watching the visual of this, all their links will be in the description. If you are listening to the audio version of this, I am sorry. I physically can't do that. I cannot put their stuff on if it's audio. But yeah.
Can you read out all?
What's up?
Could read out all links.
Yeah. But yeah. Thank you, and see you guys in the next episode.
Awesome.
On me.